Okay, now we are going to look at what changes we need to make to this model so that when we use solver, we can use simplex LP and not GRG nonlinear. And the nonlinearity are caused by three cells. Okay, so that one, and that one. Okay, these are the three cells. So the three cells that have nonlinearity in them will have to be expressed as changing cells. So GH and project completion time. Okay, so you have to add to the crashing, okay, GH and project completion time as well as the three additional cells as changing cells. Okay. Now activity G has two. The reason why we are using max is because it has two predecessors, right? So we have to look at EF, or the early finish time of the first predecessor, which is what? Okay, remember predecessors are D and E. So early finish time of D, and okay, we'll do it here. And then early finish time of E. So that value must be greater than or equal to both of them. So, so the constraint here is that whatever value that solver figures out for this, it must be greater than or equal to early finish time of D, right? And then early finish time of E. So instead of figuring out the maximum of these two directly, and the max introduces nonlinearity, you say, okay, I'm going to let solver figure this out with a constraint that this should be greater than or equal to that, that should be greater than or equal to that. Okay, and the same here for activity H. Okay, that should be greater than or equal to the two predecessors for H is F and G. So you have these two, okay, but for F and G, EF of F and EF of G. So EF of F is that one, EF of G is that one. Okay, so now you can set that equal to that, whatever solver uses here, that will go there, and whatever solver uses there, it will go there. And here for project completion time, whatever is the project completion time will go there. Of course, we have to set up for project completion time also. We have, well, actually, we should try to, let's move this over here. Project completion time. Okay, there is only one activity, so you really didn't have to do it this way, but I'm going to set it up in such a way that it is more general. So if you have, like for activities G and H, if you have more activities at the end, not just one, then you'll have all of those end times here. So this is EF of H. So EF of H is over there, right? So that should be greater than or equal to that. So this completion time will come from here. So now there are no maxes anywhere. So the non-linearity has been removed. So let's go here to solver. So now we are again minimizing the project cost. Okay, so now we have to add, besides that, we have that, comma that, comma that. So 3 additional cells as changing cells. Okay, and then besides these constraints, we have this as well. So that greater than or equal to, I don't know whether that will work. Okay, it won't work. Okay, so it's equal to that, that greater than or equal to that. So that will set the activity start time for G correctly, and then that greater than or equal to that, and that greater than or equal to that. And finally, project completion times greater than or equal to that. Okay, so now we can use simplex. You see we have it. So simplex, so by removing the cells where we had to use max and making them into changing cells and then setting up constraints, we will be able to remove the non-linearity and be able to use simplex LP. Finally, we are finishing up project management chapter. Okay, a couple of few things here. Sub projects, for really large projects, a particular activity may itself be considered as a project and broken down into smaller activities, sub activities, and the activity itself may be managed as a project within a project. And then major events on the critical path, okay, are considered to be or often referred to as milestones, and those major events will mark a reassessment of the budget and scheduling and so on. Another important aspect of project management is resource leveling. If a critical resource is required for more than one activity, then we have to adjust the schedule of those activities within the earliest and the latest times in such a way that the resource needed are evenly distributed over time and shared by other activities. And there are lots of software packages available, and there's of course this more very popular Microsoft project. It's very easy to use, and also there are other software packages available on the web that one could use for subscription fees and so on. All right, so that concludes chapter on project management.